REM on XFM doing Man on the Moon. It's Friday afternoon. I'm Ian Camfield. We were hoping to bring you a live Manic Street Preachers session this afternoon. That was the plan all week. I know lots of people were very excited about this. But as I mentioned on air earlier on this afternoon, James from the band had a little bit of an unfortunate incident with a bread knife this afternoon, which has kind of impaired his ability to provide us with the session. But Nicky Wire came into XFM anyway, just for a chat. Hello, Nicky.
Hello. I'm glad I'm here, so I can put the truth.
What happens?
He genuinely did. He was cutting some bread, making a sandwich, and he lopped off the top of his finger, which has now been successfully glued back on. He got out of A&E about 4:30, 5 o'clock today.
Yeah.
And he did faint as well. I shouldn't say that, he'll hate me for it, but there was so much blood, he fainted, and he's in a terrible mood, and he sends his sincerest apologies.
What is it? He said, I knew there was something wrong when I woke up and there was a bloke waking me up. Yeah.
He's had the builders in.
But he is okay.
He's okay.
Yeah.
It's a bit awkward, to be honest, because we're rehearsing for the tour. We got lots of promo sessions, blah de blah. So unfortunately, unless you want to hear a lot of me singing, which is not a good idea, and playing guitar, then we'll just have to do without
but
it.
His finger is going to be fine, so it's okay to make jokes about the fact that if he cut the top of it off, you might start sounding like Black Sabbath, because Tony Iommi's got no tips on his fingers.
Yeah, that fuzzy, distorted sound that only he gets.
Let's talk about the... well, by the way, we are going to play some live Manics, although they couldn't be here to do the live session. We're going to broadcast some of the stuff that they did for XFM's Winter Wonderland just before Christmas in Manchester, so you will get some live Manics on XFM this afternoon. But the new album, Send Away the Tigers, is coming out in May. That song, specifically the title track, The Decline of the Two Tonys, only someone like you would think, okay, Manics always been a bit political, not happy with Tony Blair, let's draw up a parallel with Tony Hancock.
It just goes back to my old days in college with Richey, and we used to sit in our little very cold flat, when we were studying, and listening to old cassettes. Do you remember them of Tony Hancock's Half Hour? And just the way he made the disastrous decision of sacking his writers and ending up, just going nowhere. And Tony Blair's disastrous kind of foreign policy, because up until then, he probably would have been seen as a fairly good prime minister. Not necessarily in my eyes, but in historical terms.
Yeah.
Just that idea of the consequences of bad decision, and as someone who's made a few myself, I kind of,
And the Send Away the Tigers thing was what Hancock used to say because he had a drink problem, right?
Yeah, and he used to say it whenever his doubts or his depression, he could feel it coming on, and I think it applied to us in the sense that I think we spent so long worrying about what the band are and where do we go next and reinventing ourselves, and we just wanted to get rid of those tigers, get rid of those doubts, and just become who we were. Did
the solo albums help in terms of getting rid of those doubts and getting you to, because it seems like you've got sort of renewed enthusiasm for being back in the Manics again after you and James went out and did your own thing for a while? I really think they did. They were a proper kind of decluttering the house, just getting rid of all our kind of vain ideas. I wanted to make a kind of feedback drenched, out of tune Lou Reed album, and James more kind of singer-songwriter, so I think it helped a lot. And in the back of our minds, we always knew, but it's kind of the year of Death or Glory, the year of the comeback. It's a proper Death or Glory year. Us, Rush, Saxon, Travis. First there was Rush, then there was Saxon, now there's the new Manic Street Preachers album, right?
Chemical Brothers. They've made a brilliant record as well. I think it's up to the old boys to show these young whippersnappers a bit. Absolutely.
Let's play some live Manics then. As we said there, we can't do the session tonight because James did chop off the top of his finger earlier on today.
This is 100% true. I'm just a bit paranoid that people think I'm lying. But
no, this is true. We would have hoped it would have been a more rock and roll excuse than making a sandwich, but that's actually what happened. But we do have some exclusive live Manics for you here on XFM. This is something that was recorded at the end of last year at a big live XFM event in Manchester, the Winter Wonderland. So here you go, live Manics on XFM. The Automatic and Monster on XFM. I'm Ian Camfield. Nicky Wire is here from the Manic Street Preachers. We were hoping to have a live Manic session this afternoon. Couldn't do it because James had not an unfortunate gardening accident like spinal tap, but an unfortunate sandwich making accident.
I have to say, with the Manics history, he didn't do it on purpose. He wasn't self-harming or anything. Yeah, it was a genuine.
He was just trying to make a cheese sandwich.
I think it was a bacon sandwich now and then.
The new album Send Away the Tigers is coming out next month. All of the dates sold out. That must feel really good to go away from being the Manics and come back and just, because it's a long tour, right? This tour.
It's a proper never-ending tour. It's the longest we've done in a long time. But we were in Cardiff rehearsing when the tour went on sale, and it was snowing, a blizzard, and it took me and Sean 7 hours to get from Cardiff to Newport, home where I lived. But during that time, we were getting little messages and texts all the time. Glasgow sold out, London sold out. So it was. I think the XFM thing in Manchester really helped as well. That was the first time we'd played any new songs anywhere in 2 years, and the reaction we had there. Because you just don't know when there's lots of bands playing at once. We were we're kind of taken aback, and it felt brilliant. We were really knackered after it. James was like, "God, I wouldn't like that on my solo stuff. It was all quiet and pretty."
Well, the one thing about this album, and people will realise this when they get to hear the whole thing, is it is rocking out a lot more than Lifeblood, right? And I remember you talking on the Breakfast Show a few weeks ago on XFM, saying there's too many skinny indie boys around. People need to be shown how to rock again. And it seems like there was a sort of conscious decision within the Manics Phil to go, let's make a rock album, because the amount of times you've mentioned Guns N' Roses over the last few months talking about this, a lot of times, basically.
We just wanted goosebumps back in our music, that kind of anthemic, adrenalized rush that I think when we're at our best, we give to people. Hopefully we'll always have intelligent lyrics and we stimulate the brain and the body, but it's all about that really visceral, excitable energy. Because live, that's what we've always been. That's probably why we've all, it's almost got to the point where we started selling more tickets than records, because people still know we're great live. And just it's a very live album. It's very much the three of us together. It's
a very instant album as well. It clocks in at under 40 minutes. There's no flab on this at all. It's to the point, from start to finish. It's there and very immediate.
That was like a conscious decision. I guess I'm the theorist of the band, or I like James and Sean tend to ignore me, but I tend to believe in theories, and it was always what 10-track album direct. Kind of what Generation Terrace probably would have been if we'd been a bit more disciplined. Just really a kind of glossy punk feel to it, which Tom Nodalji, who mixed it, David Ringer produced it, but Tom Nodalji gave it a real radio sheen, and we just wanted to get that moment when you listen to your own songs on the radio, and it just makes you puts a smile on your face.
You're more unashamed than ever about talking about giving it a radio sheen and sort of giving props to the bands that inspired you, even if it's like Boston or REO Speedwagon or Guns N' Roses or whoever. So many people in this current climate shy away from even admitting that they like those bands, but there's a track on this album that's obviously inspired by Sweet Child of Mine, and there's kind of hints at Rush here and there, and you're just going, yeah, we like it, so we did it.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to that's what we did at the start. I mean, when we first came to London with Guns N' Roses badges or Hanoi Rocks t-shirts, playing Motorcycle Emptiness, people were pretty much bemused. It was the height of kind of Baggy and Manchester and stuff, and we looked particularly weird. But that was our soul. That was what we grew up on, and just the power of music to mainline straight to your heart. Sometimes kind of forgot about that power.
Yeah, but it's back now.
Yeah, I think it is. I think I mean, it's just we've never been this busy for 10 years, and that is always a good sign.
Yeah.
You're being asked to do lots of things.
Absolutely. The album is out in 2 weeks' time. It's called Send Away the Tigers. We'll reschedule the live Manic session, so we get you all coming in and playing live properly, and we'll keep all knives away from James.
We'll do a live session, and we'll make James do an acoustic session.
Okay, all right. You'll make him work harder, just in case. Yeah, maybe send out for some sandwiches this time, right? We'll provide lunch if you come in.
Why doesn't he buy sliced bread?
Nicky, thanks for coming into XFM today.